What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is Will and Casino with
Hello.
the only sports podcast. That's right, like Christian McCaffrey trade that people never thought would happen. We're the only sports podcast, Casino. I don't think that makes
try.
sense.
Yeah, nice try. That was
I'll write something for next episode.
valiant effort.
But let's just start right off the bat with that before we get into. And on this episode, we're going to be talking NBA, MLB playoffs, NHL, predicting this week's games. We'll talk about last night's game, the first good Thursday night game of the season. But first, Casino, Christian McCaffrey has been traded to the 49ers for, I believe, 4 draft picks, no first round picks, which I think was the most surprising. Is this a good trade for the 49ers in terms of will this amount to any more wins for the 49ers?
I definitely think it helps them in that column for sure. I'm not saying they're going to they're Super Bowl bound now, but they're definitely going to be strong. You know, you asked me last episode if they were contenders. And I said, I don't know, they're gonna definitely put up a fight, but no, especially when they get their defense healthy and back. But this will definitely get some heads turned, and they will 100% be much more affordable than they had been.
Yeah, I just think the 49ers have, ever since this, John Lynch, like Michael or Kyle Shanahan kind of like reimagining of this 49ers team, right? Where they built this amazing defense. They have George Kittle, they have Deebo Samuel. They are flipping back and forth between Jimmy Garoppolo and anyone who isn't Jimmy Garoppolo. They've had this weird injury bug that keeps snake biting this team. It just seems like, and in the 1 year they really didn't have any major injuries, they went to the Super Bowl. This year, last week, I think they played with like 11 starters down in that game and then lost a game they shouldn't have lost. So I don't know. It just seems like a match made in heaven in the wrong sense, where who could be, in every fantasy draft, you either take him 1 or 2, Christian McCaffrey, ever since he's been in the league, basically. But the issue is he misses a lot of games. He's always injured. And when he's on the field, he's a difference maker, but he's also a difference maker at a position that's kind of been devalued by the game that we have today. But maybe, especially with this season where we've seen just every team play good defense, run the ball, and all these teams that have like the passing leaders aren't really, half of them are like the Commanders or just teams that aren't doing anything. Yeah, I know I said Commanders, but I think it's a good move strictly based on the fact that they gave away basically nothing, right? Like if this was a crazy a first this year, a first next year, and then a third and a fourth, or, like something crazy like that, then it's what the hell are you doing? But
well, I will be honest. A few things. First thing, for the viewers that are watching, I'm eating pizza at the same time. I realize I haven't eaten today and it's almost 1:30.
Yeah.
Second thing, I think this was a good trade for both teams. Hear me out on this. Yes, they didn't get any first rounders, but they weren't able to utilize him. Yeah. They weren't able to do anything with him. So they were just going to let him waste away. Like I think this is a good decision for the Panthers franchise. It'd be like, okay, well, we're not getting, did I say Panthers? Yeah, that's Panthers. Yeah. Yeah. Anything for him, like try to get him while he's still somewhat in his prime. Obviously they didn't get a first for him. It shows he is injury prone, but to touch on that, San Fran has other players, so they would be able to actually not have to use him for every play, and which should cut down his injury probability.
Yeah, that's I don't know. If you're a 49ers fan, I have a couple I work with and they're like super stoked. I mean, I could see if this was my team, because I believe it was the Eagles, I think it was Eagles, Chiefs, Packers, and 49ers were like the rumor teams. There might have been one or two more in there, but those were the rumor teams. If we were here today talking about him going to the Eagles, I would obviously feel like I'd have to kind of try to convince myself that it was a good trade, but I don't know. Him just going to the 49ers, it just seems like, first off, I think the 49ers are the clear best team in that NFC West. They just need to get healthy. Like we saw, but then again, we saw maybe the Cardinals can make a run because Kyler Murray plays like a completely different quarterback when he gets DeAndre Hopkins. And he just came back from a suspension last night.
Yeah.
Which let's move over to that game, Casino, because that segue was on point.
So I don't think we ever wrote down a pick 'em for this.
No. And I'm not counting whatever pick you're about to tell me. You're already beating me.
No, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. I would have picked Arizona just because Hopkins was coming back. They were at home, and I just don't have much faith with the hot and cold New Orleans Saints team. I would have gone. I did not expect it to be this high scoring. Arizona was a 1.5 away from covering themselves, so I did not expect that. But I would have, but we won't count it. That's fine. But I would have gone with Arizona, just on those factors.
You know what's so funny is yesterday we were gonna record a podcast, but then we thought we recorded one on Wednesday, so we'll give it a day like in between just to get more new stuff. And I'm glad we did because we wouldn't have got to cover the Christian McCaffrey thing. So, but the funny thing is I had to work last night. I work every Thursday night, so I never get to see these games because they're on stupid fucking Amazon Prime. But last night it was like 8:30. And I didn't even realize they had a game on at night because, they had the Yankees Astro. We have two TVs at the place I work. So it had Yankees Astros on one TV and then the NBA games on the other TV. And there was no talk of the NFL, right? Nobody came in. Nobody said anything. And then all of a sudden it was 8:30 and Sports Center's playing and they're showing highlights of the Saints Cardinals game. And I was like, oh shit. Like I completely forgot that game was even on TV. I watched the replay of it this morning. This was a damn good game. The Cardinals just lit it up in the second quarter. Like they scored 25 points in the second quarter. Kyler Murray, he was 20 for 29, 204, one touchdown. Eno Benjamin, I don't know who that is. He did 12 carries, 92 yards, one touchdown, and then the returning DeAndre Hopkins, 10 receptions, 103 yards. Literally everybody else on the Cardinals receiving team had 31 yards or less. So this offense was all DeAndre Hopkins, all Kyler Murray threw for 204 yards. 103 of those yards was to DeAndre Hopkins. So this offense is completely different when Hopkins is in this game. You always see those stats where it's like when Kyler Murray doesn't play with Hopkins, his quarterback rating is like 20 points less than when he does. And that's because DeAndre Hopkins is arguably
it also
the
opens
best.
up the field more.
Yeah.
It opens the field more so you can do more things. So this random running back that we, don't know, Eno Benjamin, he did get almost 100 yards off of 12 attempts. That's because they were able to utilize the running game because they were doing all these option plays with Hopkins going and he's drawing people back. So
yeah. Well, they also
it's so important. You can't just be a throwing team or a rushing team. You have to have some diversity.
Well, also we found out after the fact for this past Sunday's game, the reason everybody's thinking now, the reason they traded for Robbie Anderson is because Hollywood Brown is out with a foot injury that looks like it's going to take him out for the season. So
he did. Robbie Anderson said so good. 1 target, 0 receptions.
Well, I mean, he's only been there, 3 days probably. Okay. So I'm assuming next week we'll kind of see him integrated into this offense, but
I don't even know how many snaps he had.
Well, I actually like Greg Dortch. I've had him on a fantasy team. He's blown up a couple weeks this season. So if you had Robbie Anderson as the 2, DeAndre Hopkins as the 1, Zach Ertz in the middle, and then you have Greg Dortch in the slot or whatever, I think that's a good offense. I mean, we also saw, before we go to the Saints side of this, we saw the thing on the sidelines where Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury are just screaming at each other. And this is like the second time this has happened this season, and we're only in week 7. So this is one of those things where it's like Kyler Murray, there was that big news story in the offseason where there's like clauses in his contract where he has to like basically study and like learn the plays, which I don't know if you would want your $200 million quarterback to have clauses in his contract that he has to do his homework. But this felt like the first time it happened, and this time it feels like the quarterback knows if it comes down between the quarterback and the coach is gone. Like the quarterback has $200 million invested in him. He's a first round pick. He sells tickets. Cliff Kingsbury, we talked about this last episode. Is he even a good coach? He literally had Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech and couldn't have a winning record. Like winning career record. Like, I don't know. I don't like Cliff Kingsbury. I don't really like Kyler Murray either, but at least I feel there's more talent in Kyler Murray
play, but after his whole I want out of Arizona thing, but no, I don't want out of Arizona. I hate it.
Well, also remember there was that weird thing before the draft where it was like, does he even like football or does he like baseball more? And then there was like the thing where it was like, he might go play baseball. And then they were like, oh, he's actually going to go first round pick. Yeah.
I know that he played baseball, but that doesn't, you haven't played in how long and you're going to try to go into the majors? Not going to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. But like you said, I don't like Kyler Murray, but I like his play. I like watching him play. That meme of Kyler Murray running looks like when a toddler takes your phone and you're chasing him. That is the most accurate NFL meme of all time. Let's move over to the Saints here, Casino. Andy Dalton, 30 for 47, 361, 4 touchdowns, pretty good night. Oh, except he had 3 interceptions. One was a pick 6 that I will use as the thumbnail for this episode and put our faces on it because it is a work of art, this picture. Look at the thumbnail to this episode or go find that picture where Andy Dalton turns around and just looks sad. And then there's a Cardinals player in the background jumping into the end zone with his pick 6. It's the best, one of the best NFL pictures I've ever seen in my life. But Alvin Kamara, drafted in first round in almost all my fucking fantasy leagues. Guy can't do shit this season. There's nobody else on the Saints who can get the ball except Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. Chris Olave, I actually picked up. He's doing good. He had 7 receptions, 106 yards. Alvin Kamara, 11 carries, 49 yards. And then he had 7 for 56. But it's like, I don't know. He's still on the trial thing or he's about to go to trial for hitting, I think it was his ex or something like that. Like, he seems like a garbage human being. But
what are you talking about? They didn't do it. And none of them
I'm sorry. Allegedly. I have to say allegedly.
Yes, allegedly.
But last thing we'll talk, or I'll ask you about this game, Casino. 2 questions. First one is yes or no. Saints are done, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
There's too much turnover with who they want to be the guy.
Well, also, I don't think Dennis Allen is a good coach. He was a head coach with the Raiders and he was terrible. And now with the Saints, he's been awful with a better roster than he had with that Raiders team. So and plus, like, the whole division's weaker this year with Tampa Bay not being what we thought they would be. So I don't get how the Saints aren't better. The Arizona Cardinals, on the other hand, they are now still right in that hunt with the 49ers, with the Rams, surprisingly with Seattle. That whole division feels like it's up for grabs. Do you see Arizona, now that they have, Hopkins back, they look like, or they just traded for Robbie Anderson, so they look like they're kind of figuring out their offense. Do you think they have a shot at maybe winning that division, maybe a wild card, just something besides missing the playoffs?
It's going to be tough. I mean, their schedule isn't going to be the easiest schedule going from here on out. Vikings at Vikings, it's not easy. Then
Ooh.
Seahawks, which, I mean, they've shown that they can win games. Rams, not so impressive, but Niners, we talked about, got better. Chargers, I'm sure they're starting to get healthy by then. And then they have my Patriots, then Broncos, which will win, but then Falcons, Bucks, Falcons, Niners again. I mean,
that's murderer's row.
I mean, I could see them losing. I see 3 wins out of that.
Yeah.
I know they've gotten much better, and they got their cancer out of the locker room with Anderson, but I don't know.
No, they got Anderson.
Oh, that's what I mean. Ugh, sorry.
You mean they got a cancer with Anderson, but we don't know if he's a cancer yet.
No, that is what I meant to say. Thank you. Where I was getting with argument. Yeah, my bad. But I didn't mean to say that. But yeah, no, it's gonna be tough.
Well, yeah, and now we thought coming into the season, like, oh, Seahawks were a guaranteed 2 wins. Well, they just lost to them last week, and Seattle's looked way better pretty much the entire season so far. Right. And then you have the Rams, 49ers just got better. Rams are always just going to be a tough out. So yeah, they could, but the crazy thing about the NFC West is you could make a case for every team in that division either finishing first or last. Like, it just pretty much comes down to schedule and how the ball rolls for them. And yeah, there we are. But Casino, let's dive into the week 7 games. Now that we got the Thursday night game, the first actual good Thursday night game, which I think I read something where in this game by halftime, they had already had more points, or no, by the third quarter, they had already had more points than all the other Thursday night games combined or something like that, which is fun. I love Thursday night football. Glad Amazon bought it. This week, Casino, the games just seem real not interesting, not good matchups, just a lot of just
couple in here.
Give me your 3 that you think will be good games or that you're like looking forward to.
Atlanta, Cincinnati.
Okay, I agree.
I know Detroit's only 1-4, but I still think Detroit, Dallas, because Dallas has got the best defense in the league. I know you talked about that.
Did you listen to my rant at the end of last week's episode?
I'm going to listen to it on the way to work today, and I'm very excited.
It was way too long. I went way too long. This is why I need you here.
You texted me like an hour and a half later going, oh, yeah, I just finished.
I need you. Yeah, I need you here to like reel me in.
Sorry, I had to go. Don't have that problem today. We can go as long as we need to, as long as I can just get the kid figured out. Anyway, so I got Atlanta, Cincinnati, and if you don't want to call Detroit, Dallas an interesting game, I think it's interesting just because I'm an Eagles fan, so I want to see how the other teams in my division do. I don't think that's a good game, or a good looking game. Really? I think it'll be fun. What about San Fran and KC now? I think you've said the only I have 3 good games is the first and the Chiefs 49ers, and then I think Seahawks Chargers will actually be pretty good as well. That was going to be my other call. So I think KC, San Fran, Seahawks Chargers, Atlanta Cincy, and then Detroit Dallas. Those are my fun games. If you like defensive football, maybe Jets Broncos, but that Broncos offense makes any game with them in it unfun. But let's start with our first picks. Casino, we are talking Browns and Ravens. The Browns, I should have opened this while we were talking, but I didn't. Browns 2-4 at the 3-3 Ravens. Have the Ravens peaked too early? Are you picking a Browns comeback? Who you got for this one, Casino? Just again, going off of track record, I want Cleveland to be better than they are, and they're a decent team, but they keep blowing it and turnover heaven, and I can't feel comfortable picking them until they get their turnovers figured out. I am going to go Baltimore, even though Baltimore hasn't looked too great lately. I just can't see Cleveland not turning over the ball. It's been 4 or 5 games now where all they do is turn over the ball.
Well,
Especially
and
in the
it's
fourth.
at the most inopportune moments too. It's like in the red zone, it's in the fourth quarter, it's on the goal line. Like it's just always the worst possible time.
I mean, do I think Cleveland may be the better team than Baltimore? Yeah. Do I think Cleveland will blow it? Most likely. Until they prove me otherwise, I'm going with Baltimore.
Well, going into this game, Cleveland has the 24th ranked defense. Baltimore has the 25th ranked defense. So it basically comes down to, do you trust the Ravens passing attack and Lamar Jackson versus do you trust the Browns running game? And I mean, Cleveland has the number 5 total offense in the league. So
yeah,
they have a top 5 offense
team. They just keep blowing the damn game.
Yeah.
And so I can't pick them comfortably with all the turnovers they keep having. It's not like it's been 2 games. It's 5 games in a row now that they just keep turning the ball over at the inopportune time. So
yeah,
until they stop doing that, I got to go Baltimore.
Ravens have the 9th ranked offense. I feel like this is going to be like a shootout game, much like how we saw that Dolphins Ravens game a couple weeks ago, where it was just everybody throwing and running all over just bad defenses. So I think this will be a shootout. I think if you're betting, take the over, casino, for points. And I think I'm going to go Browns. I have no reason to. I'm just going Browns.
Again, I think they're the better team, but I just can't comfortably pick them with how many times they keep turnovers in game winning situations. I just don't trust them.
I agree with you.
But I do think they're the better team.
Yeah, no, I agree. They definitely have the better roster. I mean, Baltimore, it doesn't feel like they have anybody but Jackson. Like, it really doesn't.
I would love to see Cleveland win. I would love to be wrong. I just can't comfortably pick them.
Well, see, I feel like Cleveland's fun to root for now until Deshaun Watson gets there. And then they're going to be like America's number 1 most hated team. But he's not there now. So, yeah, they are fun. I know we both like Jacoby Brissett and just wish him luck. So let's move on to the next game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3-3 at the way less interesting now 1-5 Carolina Panthers. If this is not the Tom Brady lights up and destroys a bad team, like, what are we doing here? There is Carolina is literally having a fire sale on everyone with even a smidge of talent on their team. That the Bucs better win this game by 3 touchdowns. If they have another week like last week against who we thought was one of the worst teams in the league, this is the worst team in the league. They know it. They're giving it up. Like, Tampa Bay better win by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, if they don't, it's a sham.
Do you think, or did you see that press conference where Tom Brady said football season is like you being a soldier deployed because you're away from your family or whatever? And of course, everybody just threw him under the coals for it, as if everybody didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. Like, the comparison, he wasn't saying it's like going to war. He was talking about, but it's so annoying.
I want to talk about something real fast on. So my work does a trivia night, and this really, really made me laugh. We get to as the bartenders, we get to choose the funniest team name. And gosh, it was great. Giselle loves her AB's C, and I love it. Oh my god! And Giselle loves her AB's ABC, and I cracked up.
If we find out in a week, a couple months, a year from now that Giselle cheated on Tom Brady with Antonio Brown, like, I don't know how the sports. I mean, obviously, I don't think that happened at all, and I think that's just AB just kind of being a dickhead. But if that did happen and he was like calling it the whole time, like, dear God, that'll be. I mean, we'll do a whole show on that. If we'll do a breaking news show where we'll dive into it for 2 hours, because goddamn, that'd be something.
But I just had to share that name because that had me rolling at the bar.
But so let's hope the Tom Brady has given each of his linemen a kiss like they're one of his sons, and they all feel better after he yelled at him next week. They play hard and just whoop the Panthers But Casino, next up, 3-3 Atlanta Falcons at 3-3 Cincinnati Bengals. Sneaky, interesting game here. 3-3 versus 3-3. Who you got for this one, Casino?
And this is solely because I love watching him play. I'm going Atlanta with the upset. It's 6.5 for Cincy. I mean, that's a big one, but I want to see Atlanta do it. I want to see Marcus Mariota make me happy. That will be a game that I will be watching.
Yeah. This will definitely be the early morning game.
I could be totally wrong, but I want Atlanta to win this game. And I like Joe Burrow. I actually love Joe Burrow. I think he's a great quarterback. I love Jamar Chase. Like that duo, that story where they came out of LSU together, and now they're rocking it in the NFL. I love that. But
yeah,
I want to see Atlanta keep doing what they're doing. It's fun.
You said the line was 6.5.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this last episode where just Atlanta has a bottom, like a top 5 worst offense and defense, and somehow they're just winning these games. And even the games they're losing, they're all close. This screams Cincinnati Bengals win by 3. This game just feels like Atlanta's going to be hanging around the whole game. They're just not there. They always cover the spread for whatever reason. So they're not going to lose by a touchdown. This feels like Cincinnati wins last second field goal, and everybody starts talking like are the Bengals back? Can they be going back to the Super Bowl? Who knows? I think they are a real contender in the AFC if they play like they did last week, because I know both you and I really like Joe Burrow and just how he holds himself and his swagger and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm going Bengals. Bengals.
That's fair. I just want to see Mariota. Like there's a few.
I like both these teams. Both these teams are fun to watch. We'll both be watching this game. Next up, a game you are interested in far more than I am. The 1-4 Detroit Lions at the 4-2 Dallas Cowboys. Dak attack. Dak is back. Dak.
Oh, they're gonna, they win this game like they're the best team in the NFL. Because then they got their offense. They got the number 1 quarterback in the league again, plus that number 1 defense.
The greatest defense of all time. 98, 95. I can't wait to listen to
your rant. I just can't.
85 Bears move over. 2000 Ravens move over. The 2016 Broncos, that Seahawks defense, move over. This is the best defense in the league, and it's currently ranked 8th. So it's the best defense ever, except it's 8th. And we're gonna two things will happen in this game. Either the Cowboys blow out the Lions, because Dak and this Cowboys kind of like nucleus has always been, they blow out the bad teams, which is why they've killed the Eagles ever since they've won the Super Bowl, because they've just had bad injury-ridden like messes of teams since then. But the Dallas Cowboys always blow out bad teams and then play either real shit or close to with good teams. This is a bad Detroit team, even though they're fun to watch. They have the worst defense in the league. The Cowboys will win this game probably by a blowout. Everybody on sports talk the next day will be like, we told you, Dak is back. They now have the best offense in the league along with the best defense, blah, blah, blah. Get ready for that talk. But the interesting thing that can happen in this game is the only time we've seen Dak this season, he did not play good. He did not play well against the Tampa Bay Bucks team that we found out is much worse than we thought they were based on that week 1 performance. So if Dak struggles, if the Cowboys lose this game, the storylines coming out of this game will be one of the most interesting things in the NFL this season.
Dak came back too soon. He wasn't ready. The defense was demoralized from Philly.
Is this offense better with Cooper Rush, even though Dak is a better all those things will make it much more interesting.
And they won't even talk about the defense. I guarantee it.
It is. I think this is a blowout. I'm picking the Cowboys to win, but I'm kind of
Same.
trying to reverse jinx them and hope the Lions win. So just because, well, first off, because I'm an Eagles fan, but also I think if Cowboys lose this game with all the hype about Dak coming back, I feel like that's just way more interesting to talk about. Ooh.
My kid's up.
Oh, no. But I mean, that was good. We timed it right when, so what, 10 minutes?
Yeah, let me feed her.
Wait, I'm going to put up my hands because I never know when to edit. All right, Casino, on to next game. We have, I should have pulled this up. We have Giants, the shockingly 5-1 Giants at the flailing 2-4 Jaguars. Who you got for this one, Casino?
I'm a Giants fan now.
There's something about this team where it just makes you, I don't know how they're winning.
It's Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
My kid agrees. By the way,
Saquon Barkley.
For those listeners and viewers, if you hear just a baby yelling, that's because my baby is currently eating and she's happy.
Yeah. Giants, the 14th ranked defense in the league. Their offense is, oh God, is 25th in the league. So they have the 25th best offense, the 14th best defense. Again, this is one of those teams where we talked about the Falcons. I don't know how their record is 5-1. It's not like they're blowing teams out. Every game's close, and they just have a really good coach. And like this team, I feel like just believes in the coach, believes in the players. I don't know how they're doing it, but I fully expect them to beat the Jaguars like handily. The Jaguars look like they're just in free fall.
And the Jags are favored.
No way.
-3.
The Jags are favored?
No.
Oh my God. How is that possible?
We don't know.
Dude, I will do my, at the end of this, I'll do my sporting parlay card that everybody can bet against because I'm terrible at this, but I am 100% picking the Giants.
I just saw what you sent in our group chat with all of our friends. Oh, nice.
I've
been looking for a TV, everybody, and I said, any good recommendations? And he sends me one that has still a VHS player DVD combo. It's 20 inches of fun.
I mean, it's a good deal. It's available now. I believe $60. Yeah, it's a deal. Next up, we have the 3-3 Green Bay Packers at the 2-4 Washington Commanders. I caught myself. Washington Commanders. Who you got on this one, Casino?
I just think the Commanders are too bad, and I know Green Bay is not good, but if they want to salvage anything in their season where they're not just a complete dumpster fire of just, hey, get rid of everybody, including Rodgers, they need to win this game.
Well, I don't see how they don't win this game because almost the entire team of Commanders is out. Wentz is out. Apparently he had surgery, so it'll be Tyler Heineke who.
Now I'm thirsty.
Can always go for a nice cold Heineke. But this Washington Commanders team could
too destroyed right now. They're banged up.
Yeah, but they're kind of the opposite of the 49ers where they're really banged up and they don't feel as good, or they'll get better when they get their players back. They kind of just seem like in contention for worst team in the league, especially in that just murderous division. So I don't think.
You know what's going to happen though? The Packers are going to win this game.
Yeah,
and the narrative's gonna come out and be like, "Oh my gosh, Rodgers is back, Super Bowl bound, goat."
Yeah. This will be if the Cowboys and Packers win this week against really inferior or what should be inferior competition, the hype train.
Nothing else on sports radio.
It'll be so just for chaos, because we live for chaos, right? Your Chaos Casino.
Casino. That's what they call me.
I hope Commanders and Lions win this week. It'll make next week's show much more interesting with topics to talk about.
And enjoyable.
Enjoyable, yes. I mean, for both of us, yes. The Next up, the 3-2-1. Oh, I think we're both picking Packers on that.
Yes.
Right. Oh,
yeah.
So next up, we have the 3-2-1 Colts at the 3-2 Titans. This one I wouldn't touch with a 50-foot pole. I wouldn't bet any money on it. I have no idea where to go with this one. It's literally a coin flip. I'm going Tennessee because they probably should win.
I'm going to go Colts then.
Ooh.
Well, let's just do it.
Okay.
Let's have fun.
Okay. So you're going Colts pretty much just because I picked Titans.
Yeah, no, 100%. You did it when I coin flipped for Washington and we had Denver and you lost there.
Yeah. This one, I don't feel confident at all in winning, but I mean, that's the way the cookie crumbles, Casino. Next up, we have the this game. The 1-3-1 Texans at the 1-4 Las Vegas Raiders.
If the Raiders don't win this game, Josh McDaniels loses his job on the spot. Like, he doesn't get out of the stadium before he's called into the office and just like, you know what's going on. Just like, here's the bag, or like, here's a box. Yeah, here's a box. Go to your office. You know what's going on.
They're going to give him that hobo bindle thing where they just tie his stuff with a scarf on a stick. And they're like, all right, we took your car away. You have to walk home.
Some dirt in his face. And they're like, all right, hit the road, Jack. Don't come back no more.
So
that is not a reference to anything. I've never heard that in my life.
Dang, came up with that on the spot?
On the spot.
Dang, impressive.
So there can be no copyright infringement at all. I've never heard of anything like that. It was 100% me.
But the Houston Texans, I mean, they're feisty at 1-3-1. The Las Vegas Raiders, they feel like they should be way better than their 1-4 record, but they just always find a way to lose. The Raiders, like you're saying, the Raiders should win this game. They feel like the far superior team who's just gotten kind of the shit end of the stick in most situations this season. So it's got to be Raiders. It's in our city, Casino. It takes place in Las Vegas. They got to have a little hometown pride. Like, just please beat the Texans. I don't know. I don't even care about the Raiders. I don't really even give a shit about them, but them just making Las Vegas look even worse than Las Vegas already does. Come on. Just beat the Texans. Next up, this game.
So we're both picking Raiders, obviously. So continue.
Yeah, both Raiders. This game, I don't know what to make of this one. 4-2 New York Jets at the 2-4 Denver Broncos. I'm just glad this game is not in prime time. Who are you picking, Casino?
Jets. Jets, Jets.
Our boy, obviously the Jets led by our boy, that motherfucker, Zach Wilson, who in his entire NFL career, I don't know if he's had a good game yet. I think this game will be even worse. I could see him throwing for less than 100 yards and just being sacked and intercepted to oblivion.
If we've learned anything about the NFL, it's a one-man sport, man. I mean, 100%. It's all about the quarterbacks. They win you and lose you games.
Yeah, I agree, Casino. And but no, this Jets team is their running back. Who is their running back? No. What is his name? I can't think of his name.
For who?
For the Jets.
I was looking at my kid.
For the Jets, what is his name? I'm leaving all this in while we search.
Running back. Why am I Breece Hall?
Breece Hall, thank you. He was the one before the season. Every fantasy league I was in, they were like, he's going to be a bust. Everybody said he's going to be a bust. He looks to be like the leading front runner for Rookie of the Year. He looks fantastic. He's basically Saquon, less talented, but still really good Saquon Barkley to the other New York team with this Jets. I don't know how they're winning, much like the Giants. It's all run game. It's all really good defense. I just think this has to be Jets, but the Broncos also have a really good defense. They have cringy Russell Wilson doing his stupid. Did you see that stupid Subway ad he did?
Yes.
And where they edited it to where he's just like standing there and talking. Oh my, like I don't know how you say that with a straight face. And I'm glad now that everybody's on the Russell Wilson is cringe, like hype bus. I feel like I've been on it for a couple years, but he's the worst. He's really the worst. All right, let's go next to the 4-2 Kansas City Chiefs at the 3-3 San Francisco 49ers. This is rematch of their Super Bowl. Not even sneaky good. This is just straight up probably the best game of the week. Who you got in this game, Casino?
I'm going to go KC. I'm going to keep riding them. I don't think McCaffrey will have any difference into their offense just yet. Yeah. And KC just looks like they're starting to figure something out. So I'm going KC.
I'm also going Chiefs. I just think the 49ers, they're starting to get healthier. They're starting to get players back, but this just seems like a game they lose because it's going to be, this game feels like it would be way more competitive, obviously, if San Francisco was healthier, but it feels like San Francisco not being so healthy, not having all their weapons and key players and key positions is going to really affect them against a KC team that, I agree with you, even though they lost last week. It's not like they lost to
the Bills.
They lost to the best offense, best defense, probably best team in the league by in the last minute of the game. So it's not like KC has anything to really worry about. I think they're going to start rolling, and I think this is the week where they start building up wins. So we're both picking the Chiefs. 49ers will definitely be a much more interesting watch now that they have Christian McCaffrey. And like I said, they are getting back all their players. Next up, we have sneaky good game, Casino. Second of the week, the 3-3 Seattle Seahawks at the 4-2 Los Angeles Chargers. This one will definitely, I'll be switching back between this one and the San Francisco Chiefs game because I feel like both these will be really interesting.
Yeah. I'm going Chargers. Yeah. Just going Chargers. Yep. That's it.
I'm just
going to keep it quick. Yep, Chargers.
For some reason, the Seahawks are 3-3. They have the 30th ranked defense in the league. Only teams worse are Houston and Detroit. However, they have the number, they've fallen a lot. They have the number 12 offense in the league. So Seattle can put it up with anybody, but the Chargers have the 7th ranked offense in the league and a number, where is it? 17th ranked defense. So Chargers on paper, I feel like better roster, better players, better offense, better defense. I feel like Seattle will keep it close. DK Metcalf is a matchup nightmare for most teams. I also think he'll wreak havoc in this game. I'm going with the Los Angeles Chargers, but I definitely think that I can definitely see this being a shootout going back and forth. I don't think either of these teams blows out the other one, but I mean, we've been wrong before, Casino. Mm-hmm. So we're both picking Chargers?
Yeah.
Next up, Sunday night game, the return of Tua, the 2-4 Pittsburgh Steelers coming off that big win last week at the 3-3 Miami Dolphins with Tua back in the mix. What do you see happening in this game, Casino?
Garbage.
This being the Sunday night game, how is this not Chiefs?
I don't know.
49ers.
I think Miami is going to not perform well. I think it's going to be too much into his head. Everybody's going to be cautious. Pittsburgh's not going to hold back with their with the defense. That even though Miami's 7.5 favorites, I'm going to choose Pitt on this one. I think they may be riding high off of their victory last week, and going with that. I'm going Pitt, upsetting Miami. I just worry about what's going on in Miami still currently.
Yeah, I agree. So Kenny Pickett did clear concussion protocol. He is going to be the starting quarterback against this Miami team that definitely feels like they peaked too early, and then the whole Tua thing happened, and then they've had a weird couple of weeks since that happened for obvious reasons and for reasons they probably deserved with how they handled that whole thing. But I don't know. I feel like Tua coming back will give this team some type of, I don't want to say energy, but some type of, now let's get back on the tracks and get this train rolling again. Yeah, I don't think this
until he takes one sack and then they take him off take him onto the sideline for like 3 plays. And yeah, I don't think so.
I believe in this Miami offense. Their defense is questionable, but again, they're playing against a Pittsburgh Steelers that have really shown nothing on offense or defense. I don't know how they won that game last week, but I just think it's going to probably be low scoring. It's probably not going to be a good watch, but I just think Miami comes out on top. So you're picking Steelers.
Yep.
All right. And last but not least, your New England Patriots casino playing the Chicago Bears Monday Night Football. This will not be a good game. There's no way in hell this will be a good game. 2-4 Chicago Bears at your 3-3 New England Patriots. Patriots on the come up. Obviously, I'm picking Patriots. I'm assuming you are as well.
100%. And that's, again, not being biased. I've picked against them multiple times this season. The Bears, if the Pats lose to the Bears, 100% just write them off.
The only thing I remember about a Bears Patriots game was, do you remember that game? It was like 2004, 2005, 2006, like around that era, where it was Tom Brady running up the middle and juking Brian Urlacher.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I think I remember every Brady run because there's been, like 10 in his career that are worth noteworthy.
I feel like that was a primetime game. I think that was right around the time where Chicago was coming back with like having really great defenses. And that just always stuck in my mind. So I don't think we'll see anything as great as that moment in this game. I really think this has a chance to be blowout of the week. We've seen the Patriots blow out their opponents the past 2 weeks. This Bears team is worse than the Browns that they blew out and worse than the Lions they blew out.
And so this is in New England. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I just think this is blowout city. All right. So there are our picks for the week. Casino still does not know his picks from week 1, so I can't do a total, but let's just say we're tied when in all reality, Casino's beating me by at least 20 games at this point. So go with Casino. Oh, also my bet for this week. So you can bet against me. Now I'm a shitty gambler, right? I've never gambled in my life before this season, but for some reason this season I was like, why not? I'll dip my toe in it. I think I've placed 2 other bets in my life in random Super Bowls on bullshit, right? So I'm not a good bettor. I don't know how to bet. I just like doing the parlay cards where like 5, 6, 7 things have to happen, and then you bet $5 and you can win 1,000, right? Because I'm not a big gambler. I don't like losing money, so I feel like $5 is $5. Who gives a shit, right? So this week, I'm so confident in my picks, Casino. I went from $5 to $10. So 10 smackaroonies, but if this ticket hits, I win $810. So not bad.
Nice.
Not bad. So I'm picking Lions Cowboys game. I'm picking the over in that game, 49. I think it's a blowout or a shootout. I don't see this being under 49 points. I'm picking the Giants to win by 3 against the Jaguars. I'm picking the Bengals to win, but the Falcons to cover because I think they're going to win only by 3, and like you said, line 6.5. So I'm picking the Bucks to beat the Panthers, but they have to beat them by 2 touchdowns. So that's the only one on this card I'm real iffy about. I wish I wouldn't have done it. It's already done. It's already in stone. Next, I'm picking Ravens-Browns game is 45.5. I'm picking the over in that. And then Broncos-Jets, I am picking the under because I think both of these offenses are terrible. We just talked about it. And then I'm picking also the Jets to win that game because they're only 1.5 point underdogs. So That's my parlay card. Go against all those bets and you will win because I suck at this, but I thought everybody would like free money. So where are we going from here, Casino? You want to talk NBA? You want to talk MLB or NHL?
Let's just quickly touch on MLB. I think that's the right way to go. And then we could talk a lot about NBA.
Yeah.
So currently, we do have a game today. The Padres, Phillies. It's 1-1. This sneaky good series here.
But
I don't know who I'd like to see out of this one. Because I really have no dog in the fight, and I don't really care as long as the Yankees lose. And I can't believe I'm rooting for the Astros. That's go NL. But Astros are up 2-0 on the Yankees, which is lovely to see for me as a baseball fan. And so not too much to talk about there.
The Astro Yankees games have at least been close. That first Padres Phillies game, I was like, oh, they're going to win this series in a sweep going away. And then that second one, just Padres were hitting everything 8-5. Tonight's game, I don't know, because these are always the hard games to predict, right? Where the first one, it's like nobody can hit anything. And then the second one, everybody's just hitting everything. So it's like, I don't know who wins this series. I definitely think this series has a better chance of going 7 than the Astros-Yankees. Do you think Astros-Yankees ends in a sweep? Yankees have to take one of these, right?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a sweep, but I think Houston and hopefully does pull it off. That's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I could see Astros winning 4-1. I could see Phillies maybe winning in 6 or 7. I just think they're the better team. Everybody thought they peaked too early, but then they've been really good in this playoffs. I don't know. I just don't trust the Padres, and I just think the Astros are better than the Yankees. So I'm calling an Astros-Phillies World Series where Astros probably win 4-1. So that's MLB. By the time we record next episode, no, the World Series doesn't start till 7 days from now. So we'll have an episode in between. Gotcha. So this series might be
the only thing notable for NHL, because it's so early in the season. The new reverse retro jerseys came out. There's some good ones. There's some bad ones.
The Vegas one is nice.
I like it because it's the old Wranglers sash coming across.
Yeah.
It's going to have to grow on me. I don't really like the sash, but we'll see how it plays out.
Wait, you wear sashes all the time?
All the time.
Yeah. So that's weird you don't like it on a shirt, but you like to have the actual sash.
Yeah. I still think the strongest one. Yes. I still think the strongest one. And it's kind of like last year's the LA Kings looks dope. They just could reverse the colors on it. But it's the old color scheme with the purple, and it's the old Gretzky era logo, which is just badass crown. And it looks good. It looks fun.
Also, speaking of NHL and our Las Vegas Golden Knights, I'm actually going to the game Monday night. Thanks
is
to
this your first game.
What?
Is this going to be your first game?
No, this is like the 5th game.
I don't know how many games you go to the NHL.
First game this season, except I did go to one preseason game this year. So first regular season game this year. Shout out to my mother-in-law who gave me and my son tickets. So yeah, going Monday night. I'll have a live report from in the arena casino on our next episode. I don't know what that means, but I'll have it.
Sweet. Got it. All right. Now let's get to the NBA of talk. You want to take the reins on this because you are a much bigger NBA fan than me.
All right. So I have not done enough research because this was like the NFL thing where I just started digging and then I got more and more and more and more. But one thing I will say about the NBA is they start too early, man. They should not. The first game NBA should play should be Christmas Day. That should be opening day in the NBA. They don't need to start late October. No, they play, first off, it's like MLB where the regular season kind of really doesn't matter, right? Because you have so many series in the playoffs where it's best of 3, best of 5, best of 7. Like you figure out who the best teams are in the playoffs. So the NBA regular season, I love it. I have watched every game that's been played in the NBA on like prime time. I do have League Pass, but I work nights, so I don't really get to watch it. But yeah, NBA should not start till December. They should really only play 20 games, or not 20 less games than they do now. So 62 instead of 82 or 83 or whatever it is. But I don't know. This season feels real weird so far. Of course, starting the season in NFL, it was like the Eagles, nobody had them picked as anything, and now they're undefeated. The Flyers, nobody had them picked as anything, and now they look to be way better than everybody predicted, right? Beginning of the MLB season, nobody had the Phillies reaching the potential World Series, right, in 3 games. Everybody had the 76ers being like, this is their year, right? They have all the tools. The East is worse than it's been in the past couple of years. It's going to be all 76ers. Both Sixers games I have watched every ball bounce of. They look so garbage. They're running the offense and the team through James Harden, who at this point is washed. James Harden is done. The first game, he has 2 wide open looks after he shakes 2 guys, breaks their ankles. Wide open looks, bricks them both. One of them was an air ball. Like, they're running the offense through James Harden when you have the MVP, who was supposed to be MVP if he didn't get hurt last year, Joel Embiid, and you have young players on the team. You have better shooters. You have a washed James Harden that they're running the offense through, and that's why they're 0-2. So congrats, Sixers. Like, Doc Rivers, I've said it always, he is an overrated coach. He had 1 good season. There is no great coach that is 3-1 in series and then blows the lead. Not once. He's done it like 5 times in his career. You're not a good coach if you can't win 1 of 3 games to close out a series when you already beat the team that beat you 3 other times. How does that happen? Doc Rivers, overrated. He's literally coasted his entire career on 1 season where he had the 3 of the best players in the league that year. I hate it. The season's long.
Are you picking the Bucks or the Celtics to come out of the East?
The Celtics look good. They look really good. I could honestly see.
I did watch the first game. I did watch the first game. And I mean, 35 points from Brown and 35 points from Tatum. Oof.
Yeah. I mean, the Celtics, I could honestly see this year being a repeat where it's Celtics, Golden State. Golden State looks phenomenal. Boston insane. Looks phenomenal. Both of them got, like, somehow they have veterans, but they also got really good young players. So they feel younger teams with better veteran players. It's weird. I don't know how this is working, but I mean, if
you take the Philly, the 76ers out of the equation and you're saying they're not looking good, there's really only 4 teams that I can see winning this whole thing: Bucks, Celtics out of the East, or you got the Warriors or Clippers out of the West.
Yeah,
Clippers. I don't know much about basketball. I know enough to do this podcast, but yeah, that seems like the clear thing before going into the season.
Well, and the Clippers and Lakers just played last night. Watch that game. Lakers made a game of it late, but they're still having the thing we've already talked about on this podcast, which is the Russell Westbrook of it all. He was 0 for 11 from the field last night. 0 for 11. So you know how many baskets he made last night, Casino, for the Los Angeles Lakers? As many baskets as you and I did. And we're not on the team. So 0 for 11. The Lakers, I think everybody kind of predicted them to have a really bad season. Anthony Davis last night was knocked out of the game, kind of came back in. He's always been injury prone. There's no way in hell he plays more than 50 games this season. If the over-under was 40, I think I would take the under. I just think he is injury prone. And it's also concerning to me when the second, sometimes first best player on your team says in the offseason when he's being interviewed, like, oh yeah, I haven't even touched a basketball in like 3 months. And you're just like, okay, but you're a professional basketball player, right? Like you should probably work on that. Like not just rely on your, being 7 foot or however tall he is. But Lakers look like to be one of the worst teams in the West, but I think just on LeBron James stat padding, and he can still get to the basket against pretty much any team he wants to. And, he's chasing records and he's worried about legacy. I think he knows. Now.
He's just going to be playing in the league until he can play with Bronny. You get to play 1 season with him and then go.
Yeah. And they're doing those real cringy Nike commercials where it's LeBron versus Father Time. And I've already seen that commercial 90 times and it's just started airing like 2 days ago. So I'm already sick of that commercial. But I really think just on the shoulders of LeBron James, the Lakers will finish just mid in the West. Maybe they'll get the 8th seed, maybe a play-in game. Who knows? But I really do think it's, let's see, the Celtics, Warriors, I agree. I think Clippers and Nets are kind of always there in the mix since, they got Durant and they got Kyrie and they got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Well, now they got John Wall as well. Well, Kawhi Leonard didn't even play good last night, and the Clippers still pretty much blew out the Lakers. So
I like Wall.
I do too. I just think he's just kind of got bad luck and just weird teams and all that stuff. So
100%.
I feel like he's finally on a good team. I've always loved, even as a Sixers fan, it pains me, but I love Jimmy Butler. Maybe he's my favorite basketball player. I loved when he was on the Sixers. I love him on Miami. Miami hasn't looked good this season so far, but they've only played 1 game. So I really think it's Heat, Celtics, Bucks. Hopefully the Sixers get on the right track, and those are the 4 teams in the East. In the West, I think it's kind of maybe more wide open where you have Warriors, I think, is the clear 1. Clippers is the clear 2 if they can actually live up to the hype we always give them every season. And then you have the Suns looking good, the Nuggets right there with Jokic. And then you have kind of Mavericks, Grizzlies. So I think the West is deeper. I think there's a lot of good teams but there's not really any great teams, except I think obviously the Warriors and Celtics are like the great teams. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting season. There's also going to be the return of Zion with the Pelicans. Can they make stuff interesting in the West? And then you have a really young, really interesting Cleveland Cavaliers team that could make some noise in a weakened East. So also, last thing, Casino, this season, it's going to be, obviously, we just talked about how it's going to be top heavy and then kind of a lot of interesting teams in the middle. There's also going to be a bunch of teams who just throw up their hands and say, fuck it, we're tanking for the guy's name. I can't remember. It's like Webben or something like that. But that's the guy we talked about a couple episodes where he's like the 7-foot guard who's sinking 3-pointers and he just looks like an alien out there that we've never seen before, but he looks like a franchise game changer. He also looks like the one that takes over and does what we thought Zion would do, but doesn't have the injury history Zion did. So I think top heavy league, a lot of interesting middle teams. And then there's going to be 10 teams that are just saying, fuck it, let's tank to try to get this franchise changer. So we'll talk NBA and NHL. Obviously, when MLB playoffs ends, we'll kind of keep following up on the season. But so far, yeah, NBA is good, except my team looks like way worse than I thought they would be. So that's always fun. We got anything else, Casino?
Well, how you were saying Butler is one of your favorite players. He still has one of my favorite stories outside of the Celtics coach banging his wife as of late. But remember, it was like it was 2000. Yeah, it was 2020. It was during the bubble when they were in the bubble for the playoffs, and he's in the. It's like 3:30 in the morning, and security goes up to his room. And he's drenched in sweat, and he's practicing dribbling the basketball. I just love that.
And man, there was just
you like Butler so much. I do too. And that story right there, like 2 years ago, solidified it for me. I'm like, this guy's great. I like that.
One of my most favorite games that I ever watched was like in all the years I've been watching NBA was just the Lakers Heat game where it was in the bubble. It was Lakers Heat finals. And it was just the Jimmy Butler game where he just took over that game and he would just not let the Lakers win, not let them sweep. And it was just like at the end of it, he was just like exhausted and he's leaning on the announce desk. And it's like, the announcers are going crazy that he just left everything he had on the court. Like, I just love Jimmy Butler so much. When he was on the Sixers, he was my favorite player. Now that he's been to the Heat, I think he's just really bought into like that Heat culture and like stepped up as the leader. And he's just, everybody forgets, but last year he was 1 3-point shot away from taking the Heat to the finals instead of the Celtics, but he missed that shot. But man, series. He could have, but the thing I love about Jimmy Butler, he could have gone to the hoop and tied it, but he went for the fucking win. And it was a great shot and everybody thought it was going in and it missed it by that much. And it's hard for me as a Sixers fan to root for the Heat, but I really don't root for the Heat. I just root for Jimmy Butler. I also think, I don't know why this just made me think about it, but Chicago Bulls, also sneaky East team. I just think the East doesn't have as many good teams as the West. So sneaky team, Chicago Bulls. They were sneaky last year, but I feel like they could be better this year. Sneaky. I'm going to get it next week and it's just going to be sneaky. But
and then what are you going to get me?
Chaos. You'll be chaos nice. And I'll be sneaky. All right, Casino, you got anything anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here? That's a no. You've taken that long to answer. That's a no. So
I had to go through my memory.
This has been the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino.
Hi.
And we will be back on probably Tuesday, Wednesday to review Week 7 in the NFL, talk about the playoff games, talk more NHL, MLB.
It always just depends on when we're able to get these kids to sleep at the same time, and
these
then if
damn
I can
kids.
get my kid to watch a movie while we finish the last half of it, and then lunch, and then
yeah. Luckily, my kid went down for his nap when he was supposed to, so I'm going to go wake him up. And yeah, we'll see you back on Tuesday. Adios, Casino.
Bye.